Atomic Habits by James Clear is one of the best-selling and most popular books when it comes to self-development and particularly habit change. And in this video, we're going to be looking at what, in my opinion, are the two most interesting and powerful takeaways from this book. Let's dive in. Okay, so the first takeaway is how we should essentially forget about goals and focus on systems instead, for essentially the following 4 reasons. Firstly, everyone's got goals. For instance, at the start of each year, you'll have all the new year, new me people getting their notepads out and writing a whole long list of all the things that they want to achieve that year. And many people around the world, for instance, might have a goal to get fitter. But by the end of the year, some of those people probably will have got fitter, but many of those people will not have. And so if both winners and losers can share the same goals, then it can't be the goal that is the differentiating factor between the winners and the losers. Instead, it will likely have been the systems that the winners implemented that was the differentiating factor. Secondly, goals are temporary, in that achieving a goal is only a momentary change. So if you only solve the problem at the results level, you only solve them temporarily. So, in order to improve for good and to sustain the level that you may have got to achieve a goal, you need to truly solve the underlying habits and systems to those goals. For instance, if I wanted to lose a bunch of weight, I could probably go on some crash diet, and after a month or so, I probably would have dropped a number of pounds. But if I haven't truly encompassed being a healthier person and really worked out exactly the amount of calories that I need and created a diet that is healthy and sustainable, I'm almost certainly gonna fall back into my old ways and eventually put all of the weight back on. Thirdly, goals kill joy, because they come with the sneaky little clause where they put happiness off until the next milestone. For instance, you might think to yourself that I'll be happy when I earn £100,000. The problem though is that once you achieve the thing and it happens, the goalposts then move and there's always another goal to strive towards. And I'm sure we have all seen this in our own lives, where we have already achieved things that we said were going to make us happy, but ultimately we didn't become happier when we achieved them. A systems first mentality, however, provides the antidote. Because when we fall in love with the process rather than the product, we don't have to wait to give ourselves permission to be happy. Instead, we can just be satisfied anytime our system is up and running. And fourthly, goals and long-term success don't mix, because there will be nothing left to push you forward once you have achieved the goal. Ultimately, therefore, it will be your commitment to the process that will determine your progress. And so hopefully from all of this, we can see just how important systems are. And I would say that I do agree that goals are overrated. One point I would add though, is that I do think goals can have their place to give people a sense of direction in which to work towards. However, I do think goals in themselves are kind of meaningless, because if you haven't implemented the systems that are necessary to achieve the goals, and made the real habit changes that are necessary, it will be very difficult to achieve any meaningful goals, and you will almost certainly not be able to sustain any progress long term. If you're enjoying this video, please do hit the like button, and it would really be great if you subscribe to the channel. Okay, moving on to the second very powerful concept from the book, which is all about identity. And that the most effective way to change your habits is to focus not on what you want to achieve, but on who you want to become. So let's break it down. Imagine that you were trying to build a new you. On the outside, you've got outcomes like getting fit or learning a new instrument. Inside that, you've got processes, the daily habits that will get you there. But at the core, it's your identity. What do you believe about yourself? And most of us, James Clear argues, do it backwards. We focus on the outcomes and hope that they will change our identity. But James Clear flips this, and he says that identity change is the North Star of habit change. In other words, decide who you want to be first, and then the habits will follow. Because it's one thing to say, I'm the type of person who wants this thing. It's something very different though to say I'm the type of person that is this. And it goes back a little bit to what we were saying about goals and systems, in that you might be able to start a habit from motivation, but the only reason you'll stick with one is that it becomes part of your identity. But how do you make something part of your identity, you may ask? Well, the more evidence you have for a belief, the more strongly you will believe it. And so it does then tie back to habits contributing most of the evidence that will shape your identity. And so the ultimate solution is therefore to focus on your identity and decide the type of person that you wish to become, and then prove it to yourself with small wins. And as the vote mounts up and the evidence begins to change, the story that you tell yourself will also start to change, and that identity that you were after will begin to be reinforced. And that's it. 2 major lessons from Atomic Habits. Ditch the goals and focus on systems, and let your identity guide your habits. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do check out my previous upload here. And please, obviously, why would you not subscribe to the channel? Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.